Okay, let's run.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks! What are you?
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to And I Quote. This is a weekly show where we introduce you to content creators of all shapes and sizes that join us from many and all corners of the nerd universe. We find out more about them by taking your questions. I am your host, Ryan of Nerd Culture, and our guest on this episode is someone we have looked forward to having on this virtual set for a very, very long time. He is the legendary composer of your childhood of the 90s, such as this property right here, among many others. Please welcome the man, the myth, the legend. Yes, he is here, Ron Wasserman. Hello, Ron. Welcome in. How are you?
Hey, how y'all doing today?
We're doing quite well, good sir. We are very thankful that you're here with us. Now, if you have any questions for Ron as we go throughout the course of this episode, by all means, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Our producer is going to be monitoring it as we go throughout the course of this program. But in the meantime, Ron, when were you introduced to the world of comics?
To be honest with you, I was never into comics. So I grew up kind of studying music and playing piano all day and doing whatever schoolwork I had to, but I never was following it until X-Men came up, which honestly I didn't even know what that was. But I had a friend that grew up reading all of that, so he briefed me on the show before we started writing the theme.
Wow. Okay,
I know it sounds lame.
we're getting some interesting origin stories here. What would you say were some of your favorite movies or TV series when you were growing up?
Oh man, I really loved everything from those cheesy cop shows in the 70s and 80s, and the kids shows when I was really small were all the Sid and Marty Krofft stuff, like HR Puff and stuff, and these other wild shows that apparently they would drop acid and write these scripts or came up with these characters. And you don't know that as a kid. It's very innocent, but they always had great themes, so those things stuck with me. All the stuff I watched as a kid and teenager. And by the time I hit my early 20s, I kind of stopped watching television mostly. I was too busy trying to figure out how to eat. Make money to eat, I should clarify.
Yes, of course. What would you say were some of your favorite bands or songs, past or present?
Well, I'm sorry, you cut out there for a sec.
Oh, my apologies. The question was, what would you say were some of your favorite musicians or songs, past or present?
Oh, I was a hardcore Black Sabbath, Jethro Tull, Led Zeppelin, and a Genesis fan, and George Gershwin. So I had a very unusual playlist. Not really pop radio so much, just more the heavier, more angst-driven things. Not George Gershwin, obviously, and not so much Genesis, but I just loved metal of the day.
Rock on, man. Rock on. When did you decide to become a composer?
Well, I had been in bands in the 80s that almost got signed and was in this one new wave band that did pretty well as far as building the LA audience, but we never really got enough we never got a record deal. That's all there is to it. And then this gal, E.G. Daly, who was Pee Wee Herman's boyfriend, she approached me at a club one night after I did a gig with one of the bands I was playing in. She said, "Hey, I need a keyboard player. You want to be in my band?" And I said, "Sure." So I was in her band for I think it was 4 or 5 months until her record deal didn't work out, but it was so fun. And the bass player was Matt Bissonette, who plays with Elton John and has done everything else. And her drummer was Matt Sorum, who went on the Guns N' Roses. And I don't remember who the guitar player was.
Oh my Lord!
It was a great band.
You were approached by E.G. Daily, aka Dottie, from Pee Wee's
Dottie.
Big Adventure. Oh my gosh, Dottie! I mean, oh my gosh, she seems like such a charmer. That one,
Such a
one
charmer.
of these days, I hope to meet E.G. Daily and get her to sign my Pee Wee's Big Adventure Divida, because that would be nice.
Yeah, she's very, very sweet.
Oh my gosh, man! From Dottie to Tommy Pickles and everything else in between that actress has done, and musician as well. Oh my gosh,
Right. Yeah, she's a great singer.
man, that's so freaking awesome. I'm sorry, beaming back here, but my my question is, what would you say are some of the rewards about being a composer?
Well, I really have never liked the spotlight. So even though I would end up in it, even after starting television with a band with my ex-wife called Fisher, I would always hate live. So the greatest part about being a composer is, well, first of all, when you get the gig, you actually get the gig. There isn't a record company coming to you and saying, well, yeah, we really like it, but could you change everything? And you get to, for me, work alone, which I absolutely love. I don't think anybody's ever even seen me score anything. I just close that door. I'm in there. It's my own world. I can be whatever character I want and nobody's watching. And for me, that's perfect reward for being the composer in a studio all the time.
Of course, of course. On the flip side of the fence, though, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges about being a composer?
Having occasionally, it hasn't been that often, but occasionally having people who want to give you a note just so they can say they were involved with it. So I've always been very, very careful and very good at going straight to the top, which has saved me a lot of problems. I don't go run to the top. I didn't do that when I was working for places and going, yeah, Bobby said da 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 da. I didn't do that. It's just, let's say a mid-management came in and said, well, I think we should do this. I'd say, well, the owner of the company thinks we should do this. That's exactly, you go with what he said. I'll be over here in my office. So that is the biggest challenge. And for the last years, which is really not a big problem for me, but so many people are scoring stuff on GarageBand at home and using pre-existing loops, and you can tell when they're doing this. And so that's the new challenge. And AI is not even a part of it yet. I mean, it's just nothing to worry about yet.
Right, right, right. Of course. What pieces of advice would you offer to someone who's aspiring to become a composer themselves?
All right, if you're really starting off and you have no connections, like I had none, obviously networking. And then, I mean, I originally was asked to come into Saban for one evening to engineer and mix for another composer. And that's when I started learning about that side of the business. But the thing is to be ready. First of all, none of your work is precious. If they really want things changed, cave and change it. Don't argue. Always smile. It's a very small business. So even if something really annoys you, you have to kind of, keep it down inside, like our dads told us. And that's really, and be ready to start off by really knocking on the door and serving coffee or cleaning the floors and making friends with the other composers. I luckily was an engineer, so I was able to get in on that level. But I had friends that went to, a friend of mine went to Hans Zimmer's place, Remote Control, just showed up. He drove down from Idaho and he said, I'll make coffee. And they gave him a job working on the sample library. He did that for a couple years and then slowly got in. I think his first part that he wrote was a theme for the ship in Pirates of the Caribbean. And then unfortunately some stuff happened in his personal life and he had to leave. He was taking care of his family, but that's how he got in. And a lot of young composers think they're good enough, and they very well may be, to just get an agent, which I've never even had an agent, and magically the work's going to pour in because of their remarkable talent. And it's, it's difficult. Learning how to score to picture is very, very hard, especially animation.
Definitely, definitely. And boy, you mentioned the name Hans Zimmer. He's kind of a big fish, isn't he? He's only done a bunch of 100,000 scores for like 40 years or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, he
he's
doesn't
some
know what
guy.
he's doing. He's going nowhere.
Yeah, he's going. I'm not sure where he's going, honestly. He's going up into space. He's been on Earth. He's been outside of Earth. He's been under the. I don't know. Hans Zimmer, who's he? No, I'm just kidding. I've known
Yeah.
for a long time. Hats off to Hans Zimmer, another great composer who's out there. But speaking of which, we are here at And I Quote with composer legend himself, Ron Wasserman. If you have any questions for him, by all means, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. And don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. So you mentioned this individual's name earlier, but I want to take you back to the Wayback Machine for just a moment here. Sure. So it's the 30th anniversary of a certain property. It's only been around for 3 decades, even more so overseas from where it was adapted from here in North America. Power Rangers. I'm just curious, how were you approached to compose the iconic theme song that we all know as Go Go Power Rangers back in 1993?
Saban was making a presentation to Fox on the following day, and they came in and they said, we need something for this show called Power Rangers. We're making a presentation to Fox tomorrow. And I remember my my buddy there saying, maybe use the word go, which I made sense because Haim Saban, his partner, had so much success with Go Gadget Go back in the 80s. So I went, oh, that yeah, cool. I'll try it. And literally from beginning to finishing it was 2.5 hours because I wanted to work on something else that night. I was being selfish. I had plans to work on something for myself. I thought I had a night off. And so it took 2.5 hours to bang that out. I threw on those vocals, the short 1-minute version. And the next day they called and they said, Fox loves it. And I said, great. Who should we get to sing it? And they said, no, you don't change a thing. So it's a rough mix, meaning I didn't sit there for an evening making it sound as perfect, getting every sound as clear as possible. It was kind of faders up, sing it, that sounds good, see if Fox likes it. And that's the theme that ended up airing.
More phenomenal, because I don't think there's one man, woman, or child who hasn't at least heard that song, at the very least, at least once.
Yeah, it's if I had any idea, you never know. You never know.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But with 7 billion people on this planet, I'm thinking they've heard that song at very least one time. Granted, I've heard it thousands of times because I like it that much. I just happen to wear the shirt too, so there you go. That doesn't hurt anybody either. So you have the Go Go Power Rangers thing going on, and what was your process like putting the songs together for those early seasons of MMPR? Whether it was Combat, We Need a Hero, 541, all that stuff. What were those processes like?
It really came down to I can't remember how many episodes, because of course once the show gets greenlit, and I think they were 46 minutes or 47 minutes. First thing you gotta do is start getting a score done. Then you've got to come up with a little theme for Bulk and Skull, or for Rita, or before Zed came in, all these things. So once we got rolling, then I said, hey, it'd be great to have some songs. So the obvious first word for me was fight. We have to have a song about fighting. So I took all those years of wanting to write rock stuff, which I'd never been in a band to do it. It was either new wave or whatever. And finally, I got back to my rock roots and just started banging this stuff out. And all the songs are kind of about pretty much, obviously not things like Go Green Ranger Go, but they're all pretty much about my life and what I've had to deal with. Not boo-hoo-hoo, but paying dues and growing up poor and all those things. No anger. It's just kind of a positive message battle to work your way out of poverty or other problems. Even though I'm using the word fight and combat and or anything, you know.
All right, yeah. I completely understand where you're coming from. And there's some of the best songs we've heard. If you grew up in the '90s like myself, great songs. We loved hearing them every single time they dropped in an episode. They were featured. They were dropped somewhere in between certain sequences that took place within an episode. Or heck, I remember when the VHS tapes were coming out, they would put music videos on those VHS tapes that included your songs.
Yeah.
So, which
They
I
would
thought
just edit them up. I thought that was pretty cool.
which I thought was I thought that was really awesome, really good stuff. So what was the process like putting together the theme songs for things such as whether it was Power Rangers Zeo or Power Rangers in Space, and then years later you came back to do the theme song for I believe it was Power Rangers SPD. What was that like?
SPD, yeah. Well, I had kind of left Saban in the end of '95, so themes that followed, and I don't have it all down chronologically, but I still did stuff for them. I think even though I wanted to go my own way, I was at home scoring Dragon Ball Z, and then if they'd call and they'd say, hey, we're working on another theme, I just kind of bang it out. It was my brain, I was cranking out so much stuff during those years at Saban for all these shows. Sweet Valley High, Power Rangers, VR Troopers, just the commercials, in so many hours that if they would ask for a song, I could bang it out in an afternoon. It just kind of came to me like themes always have. I've been fortunate with that. I'm a really, my specialty is melody. And I'm a really good writer and a really okay musician. Where other people I know are like fantastic musicians. I mean, everywhere I go, it's like, oh, sit down, play the piano, do something, show off. And like, I don't really do that. So the process of writing the songs for me was just, they came to me, and luckily, and none of them were ever a fight or a problem. There's always something funny to do with the songs.
That is truly legendary. And thank you for sharing that with us, because great songs no matter what. And even though you weren't familiar with this property beforehand, when you put the theme song together, when anyone thinks of this property, I mean, the theme song is automatically going to be the first thing that comes to anyone's minds. So how were you approached about this, and what was it like cranking this one out for X-Men?
This one was a lot more difficult. This was done with my friend who brought me into the company, a guy named Ron Wasserman. He had a band as well, and he had a song called Piranha Canoe with this digga 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 bass line. So he thought maybe something like this, and then the rest is 2 weeks is kind of a blur. I think every night I delivered a new draft, and then I'd get a note saying, it's kind of funny, it was more hi-hat. Now we can't hear the bass. Oh, now we can't hear this. Oh, could we fill this hole? It was my first theme, so everybody was throwing ideas, and it was turn this up, turn this down, bring this up, and finally we got the mix. So it was hell to come up with that one, and it was hell to get it done. But when it was done, I remember, thank God, now we'll move on to the score.
One thing's done, we move on to the next, folks. Come on, it's not rocket science.
That's really what it's like. It's like every project. It's always like going to high school. All these production companies and whatnot you work with. You make great friends. You're going to hang out and know each other forever. 3 months later, you're not talking. You're all on to new projects with your new high school. It's pretty interesting. So you learn to just let go and move on.
That's absolutely fair. Absolutely fair. But we hope you, who may be watching or listening to this, won't let go of the greatness that is, and I quote, featuring our special guest, Ron Wasserman. If you have any questions for him, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. And if you're joining this live on the replay, welcome and thank you for being with us. Now, you mentioned it a few moments ago, but I am curious. When you were working on the theme song for this bad boy, because you go from kids who have teenagers with attitude and spandex to kids who are traveling through interdimensional gateways into virtual reality, where virtual reality, it was starting to become a thing. You would see kids wearing the giant headsets in the malls and doing this thing and all this stuff in the 90s, but What was it like putting together the theme song or some of the music for VR Troopers? And what did you think of the premise for that series too when you were approached to do it?
I thought it was going to be another huge hit. And I remember without doing the theme, there was maybe a 15-minute short they put together. And I remember scoring that. I remember pulling up some Japanese sounds here and there for it. And then I think when they were able to get the green light for the show, I mean, it's obvious, we are VR. It really couldn't be a more obvious thing to my brain on what to write. So it just sounded cooler than VR Troopers, which sounds cool, but We Are VR was more of a hook. And again, I do not remember writing it, but I know I did it.
So, hey, man, I don't remember writing it, but I know it happened somewhere.
I know. It's not arrogance. It's not. It's just the amount of work.
The 90s went by so fast, I don't remember what I did yesterday. No, it's fine. Things happen. Things get lost in translation. No, I'm kidding. They don't. But VR Troopers, once again, well done. Great series. Haven't met all the cast members yet, but I did have the pleasure of meeting Mike Hollander, who played JB Reese, one of the main characters at the show at a Comic-Con a few years back. Very nice gentleman, by the way. If you ever get a chance to see him, he's great. I'm talking about Mike Hollander, JB Reese. He was the second VR Trooper, and then the third one was Caitlin Starr, played by Sarah Brown, who's a very good actress as well, very talented. And then you mentioned this property. What's it like writing music or putting together theme songs for anime properties than it is for things such as Power Rangers? Do you see much of a difference or not really?
Yeah, actually, I so loved this show. And I scored this at home in the living room with a 19-inch television, a VCR player, a VHS, I'm sorry, and a Macintosh that only did MIDI. And this show was great because Saban said, we have this thing, no one cares about it, do what you want. And I said, great. And I ended up doing it for 2 or 3 years at home while working on other projects. But I loved the show, and I was able to do these giant swells, all this big building stuff, which partially was out of necessity because to picture the music, to get it to lock, took a little bit of, not like today, it took a little bit of work there. So having long takes that are building and building were beneficial but the sound turned out great, and it ended up working out great for the show instead of being too busy. It's more of a ambient score in some ways, as in places like they do these days.
Right. Well, one thing's for sure, it is well worth well over 9,000. So there's a reference there for you, just for good measure. If anyone caught that, let me know which one it was in the chat. Be curious to hear your thoughts. So you fast forward now, 30 years later, and now we talked about this, and you can catch this video on our YouTube channel at Nerdculture Channel. It's under for the Power Ranger Nerds playlist. The 30th anniversary spectacular, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Once and Always. Everything came full circle. You were brought back to put together the theme song and the score for that Netflix movie. What was that like coming back 30 years later?
Oh, it was great. The producer, Simon Bennett, shot me an email about July of last year and said, we would love to have you do this. Are you interested? And I wanted to respond in 4 seconds, but I decided to make him wait. So I made him wait a minute. I just wrote back in bold letters, would love to do it. When? ? And he said, we'll have everything for you in September. And then, it always takes longer. So we ended up, I got it in the beginning of December, and I loved it. Because it didn't really feel like, it was Power Rangers, but it wasn't every Power Ranger thing I scored. It was like a whole new story, a whole new vibe, certainly a great look with the Power Rangers characters in it. So I thought it was great. Plus, finally, it got into some emotional subjects. So it was perfect.
I would wholeheartedly agree. And if any of you are fans of this property, Power Rangers, and you grew up with it at one time or another, I mean, I did back in the 90s. That movie, and we talked about this during our discussion, you can find it on our YouTube channel, respectively, after you're done watching this incredible episode of And I Quote with the legendary Ron Wasserman, of course. We really enjoyed it. Everything came full circle. It brought so much of that nostalgia back, and also touching on subjects such as loss and grief and anger and revenge and wanting to repair things that were broken and trying to repair yourself in a way and all that stuff. The themes they touched on in that special were really, really well done. And also the tributes, obviously, the late actor and actresses Twee Trang and J.C. David Frank, I think, was well put together. It was very much loved and respected by everyone in the community. I thought they did a wonderful job. And you coming back, when I found out you came back for that, I'm thinking, man, it just everything feels, we all feel young again. It just feels like we're right back there where we were when we were 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, just watching it day after day, month after month, year after year, coming off the school bus and running into our homes and turning on the television set and watching Fox Kids just to enjoy the simplicity, the joyfulness that was childhood. So my hat's off to the entire cast and crew of MMPR once and always, and as well as for you, Ron. You did an incredible job.
Oh, thank you. I had a blast. And I was able to do some of the old rock stuff. They wanted a little tech stuff with it, which I loved, to do the emotional stuff. And I remember at the beginning, they said, we're not scoring this like you used to. We're not doing wall-to-wall music. And I said, fine. You know, I'm used to that. And then they sent the first cut with temporary music in it. And there was a lot. And then they said, I think, you know, we put in what we think is a general direction for you, but there's a couple places there aren't music and we'd like those filled up too. So it's pretty much wall to wall, which was great. Because when you have a lot of music, it's so hard to get out of it in shows like this and then come back. It's better to just kind of keep it going as much as you can. There should always be something in the background. I don't quite know how to explain. It just works better, especially for this franchise.
Oh yeah, definitely. So over the years, do you have any special memories for yourself from being at events or conventions, whether you're there as a guest or there as an attendee? Have you met any of the cast and crews of any of the series you composed for over the years?
Well, I had done, it was going to be a film, Shattered Grid. So that was the first time I met Jason, and he was a doll. I think that was maybe 6 years ago now. And I met him. Amy, I worked with once back in the 90s. She was going to come in and sing something, and she was just, it wasn't working. Her voice was shot from, being on set all day. And I've met Walter and Steve. That's it. I really haven't met many of the others. Oh, one other gal whose name I can't. Oh, I feel bad. I did a rom-com right before this thing. I'll think of her name. Let's move on. I'm terrible with names because but I have met some of them. And my best memory is the very first Power Morphic. Well, two memories. The Power Rangers appeared live at Universal Studios in the 90s. And if the amphitheater's here, I lived across the hill over here, and the freeway was backed up and it was on the news. So my girlfriend and I walked over to the amphitheater, and I remember, naturally, for whatever reason, I had terrible seats. And I remember the whole place started singing that theme when it came on. And I went, wow, this is something. Because this is prior to going online and checking to see how everything's doing. At that point, I had no idea X-Men had done anything. I didn't even know Dragon Ball Z was a thing until maybe 2005. Somebody mentioned it. Just never came up.
Wow, my goodness. Yeah, we've heard that story a number of times before. You can find it anywhere on social media, respectively. Yeah, they backed up the freeway for like 8-10 miles. Everyone was trying to jam themselves into the theater to see the Power Ranger actors live on a stage show. And oh my gosh, can't imagine how crazy them must have
It was insane.
I mean, hypothetically, I wish I could go back in the DeLorean time machine and be there for that event, because being a mega fan of that property at that time, especially for all of us 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old kids, whatever it may be, I would have lost my mind, probably.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually them.
Yeah,
it was shocking.
I probably would have rushed the stage. I don't know.
Well, now you'd have to have security.
Exactly. They would have to hold all of us back, not just myself, but the people behind me and next to me and beside me. They would have to hold us back with a steel guardrail or something. God. That's
chicken wire.
Yeah. What was it? Chicken wire, guardrail, something like that? Yeah, exactly. Just put us in whichever one fits best. I don't know what I'm thinking. But
it was crazy. And then the first Morphicon I did, where I was on a it's the first panel I ever did for the show. And I went up there and there was maybe 400 or 500 people, and I was shocked, absolutely shocked.
Well, I mean, you're the composer of our childhood. We got to give credit where credit's due, man.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was very touching.
Yeah, we got to give you props for that. Got to give you props for for sure. And once again, we are here with the incredible Ron Wasserman, the composer of your childhood of the 90s, such as mine. Here on And I Quote, don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. And if you like what you see, like and share this with once again, like and share with everyone you know. If you have any questions for him, please let us know in the comments or the chat. If you're joining us live on the replay, thank you for being here. Can't do this without you. I do want to let you know that this episode of And I Quote and every episode of And I Quote is indeed powered by our good friends over there at Poddex. Now, Poddex are the hottest new tool for podcasters looking to have more meaningful conversations or simply gamify their podcast. Simply shuffle up, ask a question, and let the content roll. You can get yours today at poddex.com. Make sure you use that promo code RYAN10, that's RYAN10, for 10% off your order. Don't miss out on that opportunity, my good peoples. So, Poddex wants to know, Ron, would you rather, here's a good one, would you rather give up all drinks except for water or give up eating anything that was cooked in an oven?
Oh boy. Oven. Okay, I'd give up what's cooked in an oven.
There you go. Enough said.
Because they didn't say stovetop and they didn't say air fryer or microwave. Well, microwave, but you know.
You know what they say. One doesn't always have to equal the other. Semantics. So Poddex wants to know, what would be what is known as the worst ingredients to fill a burrito with?
Olives and beets.
Mm-hmm.
Olives. For me, olives.
There you go.
That'd be terrible.
There you go. Fair enough. Now, if you could jump into what is known as a pool full of something, what would it be?
Oh God, this will make me sound terrible. What would I want? It depends. If I'm jumping in at night, if it's heated, it'd be nice to be in a pool of bourbon. And no, I don't drink that much, but if you're going to have something excessive, why not jump into a pool full of bourbon?
All right. Nothing wrong with that. Hey, if that's that's an individual's drink of choice, hey, you go with it. You know what they say, right? You do you, my friend.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's fine. It's a fair answer to the question. What would you do if you were what is known as invisible for a day?
I know I'd go visit a lot of banks.
Mm-hmm.
What would I do? I think I would like to walk. I'd go to Disneyland, and I would be able to follow and finally see all the underground tunnels and all the workings going on behind the scenes. That would be fun without anybody obviously throwing me to the ground and arresting me. I know it's crazy, but Disneyland, Anaheim, I grew up. It was my favorite place when I was a kid. It'd be fun to see behind the scenes there.
Fair enough. Disney, it's full of magic in color. Anyway, sorry, that's going back a few decades, even long before my time. But hey, who am I to say otherwise? I've been to Disney World. I've never been to Disneyland, so I can't comment or speculate on Disneyland. Never been out to the West Coast.
Oh, well, we got to get you out here.
I probably should. I should stop over there, say hi. I got a number of friends out there on the West Coast that I'd like to say hello to and hang out with them, spend some time with them, maybe go to an event or two, maybe a convention. I don't know. There's this little indie thing called Power Morphicon. I don't know. That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah,
So
next year.
why not?
Yeah,
It's
all
only
you have to do is everywhere you drive will take 1 to 4 hours, 1 to 3 hours.
I better bring my extended playlists then. Gosh, need something to listen to while I'm in the vehicle or something.
Oh yeah. I think I
Bring
have something for you.
exactly. Yeah, I figured you would. It's like I need new mixtapes on my CD player, which yes, I still use. By the way, I just want to make that clear. I don't have a problem using CD players in a car. I don't. I don't know.
It sounds better.
It sounds. I'm with you on that. Yeah, I'll go with that. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
CD players. If you who are watching and listening to this, if you still have one, more power to you because yeah, they're cool. So what? God, what Poddex wants to know? What is something that people are just obsessed with, but you just don't get the point of?
The Kardashians.
Exactly. I'm with him on this. I don't get it either. How many times have they been on the E channel for like 20 years, 25? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And it's just that is truly baffling to me. Paris Hilton was baffling enough. The Kardashians are even more baffling. I'm not to say that they don't have talent. They've made a fortune doing what they do. But the obsession with them and the gals changing their bodies to look like them in LA is just peculiar.
It's one of those things. I don't get it. I just
Yeah, it is. I don't get it.
I don't understand. Pulling a Tom Hanks here, I still don't get it. But I don't, oh Lord, gee willikers.
Yeah, I don't get that at all. But
I don't.
happy for him.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Hey, you're making money, right, Kardashians? You're making money hand over fist. Whatever.
Yeah.
I wish I could have some of that money, but haven't gotten to that level of success yet. Let's not go there, shall we? Let's just no, just nada. If you were to go to what is known as a concert and see an artist that is no longer with us that you missed out on, what concert would you want to go to?
I would like to go back in time and see. I would like to see. Well, no longer with us. I guess I'd have to go back and see Van Halen when they were at their peak. And I wasn't a huge Van Halen fan, but I was kind of for a while friends with Eddie. And I did see when they were first coming back. I was able to go to a friends and family show, I think back in 2012 at the LA Forum. There were 300 of us, and there's Van Halen. But I would like to go back and see it in its heyday.
Respectable enough. Favorite Van Halen song?
Sounds so stupid. Ice Cream Man, because it's so different than everything else that they did. And I remember my first girlfriend was in love with that song. I'm like, what the hell is? And I went, no, it's actually pretty catchy.
Huh. Okay. That's definitely off the beaten path for me because when I think of Van Halen, it's not the ice cream one.
I know, right?
It's either you really what is it? You Really Got Me, or
yeah, You Really Got Me Going.
Yeah, that one.
That's the Grooves to Die. I mean,
yeah, You Really Got Me, or a few other ones too. I'm trying to. I think I may be wrong about this, but wasn't there a version of Van Halen that did the song? They did Dreams, right? Was that them?
Yes. Dreams
was Van Halen. So they did that end credits song for MMPR, the movie, back in 1995. Yeah.
Was it? That's the song they used on that?
Mm-hmm. At the end credits of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie from 1995, which was originally distributed by 20th Century Fox at the time, the end credits where the Rangers gather together at Ernie's place, and there's a fireworks display thanking the Rangers for saving the planet, saving the day because they defeated Ivan Ooze. Hashtag it's a 25, 26, 27, it's almost 25-year-old spoiler. Whatever happens, almost a 30-year-old spoiler. Oh my gosh, whew, man, time just. they flies when you're having fun. But yeah, they use the song at the end of the movie to play them out. And I thought, you know what? You got a fireworks display, you got everyone enjoying themselves, being in the company of others and celebrating as one big happy family. Plus Tommy and Kimberly were giving each other the lovey-dovey eyes. So that that helps too. But the song played at the end of the movie. So yeah, fun fact.
Yeah, I did. I've never seen the film, and that's only because I was going to score the film. I had the film,
Oh.
and then they pulled the film from me. So I have never seen it. Wrote a song for it, but I think that was "I Will Win" was in that. I think.
I did not know that. I'm sorry to hear that you lost out on that, because that would have been epic and grand if you were chosen as the main composer for that motion picture.
Yeah, my score was I had scored a bit of it. It was rock, and we all agreed that's how it should be done.
Huh.
And then for political reasons, and that was a sort of that was one of the nails in the coffin for me at staying at Saban full time. No hard feelings. It was just time for me to also see if I could get work outside of it, which took about 8 days after I left, to my shock. I ended up working with this guy, Bob Ezrin, who produced The Wall and all the, Alice Cooper and all these other bands. And he had a gaming company that he was starting off. And I think my first game, the score was Tamagotchi, and then Ace Ventura, and then a couple Monty Python titles. It was so fun.
Wow, Ace Ventura. I grew up watching the live action movies with Jim Carrey. Oh my gosh.
Well, these are old PC games, so they're not
Yeah.
they're not very good. Yeah, compared to today, they're a joke, but
Right. But the graphics and everything that was different back then. I mean, heck, I remember playing Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego on PC. Oh my gosh. Anybody remember those CD-ROMs? Oh my gosh.
That's what these were. These were those CD-ROMs for Python and Ace Ventura. But I would look at it afterwards. It was cute.
Fair enough. I mean,
it's like everything. It had to start somewhere.
Yeah. You got the gig, you put together something special for them, and hey, we'll give you another call sometime. Your number's still 911. Oh, righty then. Sorry, that's a line from the original movie. I can't. Grew up in the 90s, my friend. I can't help it. That's what happens. So how does it feel when someone either approaches you or you hear things on the interwebs where there's a Mount Rushmore of great composers of certain people's childhood of different generations, and your name is featured on that Mount Rushmore? What is that like for you?
It's surreal. I am so glad that happened. It's always been, I've always I don't know where it all comes from. It's always felt sort of like channeling all these things I've written, that they just pop into my head or they're just handed to me. I have no idea. But I've never had an ego about it. It's just my day job. But yeah, I've seen some of those lists, or somebody will send me that info. I'm like, wow. Or kids' themes to be in that top 25 of all time, or top 10, or whatever it is. It's pretty great. I left my little mark for all that, all those years of growing up playing piano, and all the things that I experienced and endured getting into the business.
There you go. Rock on. So hypothetically, we don't know what exactly is going on with certain properties. Things are still kind of up in the air. Some things are still in the process of being rebooted and being pieced together. We know that Hasbro owns the rights to a lot of properties these days, including Power Rangers. So we're not sure if they're going to reboot it as a show. We're not sure if they're going to reboot it as a movie. Those plans are still in what is known as development. But hypothetically, if you were approached to come back to Power Rangers in any way, shape, or form, whether it's for a new TV series that they're rebooting or a new movie franchise, or maybe an interconnected cinematic universe, I've heard that that potential idea has been placed on the ideas table, like a dart. You're throwing everything at the wall and see what sticks. Would you be up for coming back to it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I love doing it. It's a joy. They could have me back and say, will you do it for free? I would say, okay, I'll do it for free. I don't care. I love it.
Oh, all right.
I absolutely love doing it. It's fun to work on that stuff. the adult sitcoms, they've been fun, and the movies, all that, they're fun. Video games are really fun. But to score a bunch of people flipping around and having fun fighting with a good message, it's just fun. And I love doing it. And it's a challenge. It's always a challenge.
More phenomenal, my friend. Is there any particular show or a movie or a genre you haven't tackled yet that you would like to tackle?
Yeah, I'd really love to have a show like Chernobyl, something with an incredibly dark soundtrack where you're almost doing sound design. That would be fun. So the one thing I haven't done, I've done some of it for some reality show I've been working on, some detective thing, but there's a strike, so it all went to reality television, unscripted. But I would love to have a series like that. It would just be great, and it'd be a different kind of challenge. It's really one of the only kinds of scores I haven't done.
There you go. There you go. What do you enjoy more, composing things for animation or composing things for live action? Or you don't see much of a difference? You just see it as one big party/process that you enjoy doing?
It's a giant party, but animation is by far the most fun because it's so hard. So you can have times where the scenes are so complicated, especially when you're starting off and designing the sounds and little themes for the characters and figuring out what everybody wants. Sometimes you'll spend 8-10 hours just getting that first 30-45 seconds of score done till you dial in the sound. Then you can start getting 2-3-5 minutes done a day, but it's ultra focused. And then when you're done, whenever that moment comes, you are exhausted and excited and then scared that they're going to have notes. But I love that. It's a good rush.
Feel the rush. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's going back to my watching certain pro sports growing up as a kid. I can't help it sometimes, but it's it's a funny thing. So we've talked about all these different properties and processes and all these wonderful things that you either have done, you're in the process of doing, things like that. But I do have to question this, though. We do know that X-Men, the animated series, is coming back. The original 90s series, it's going to be called X-Men 97. I don't know if you could say this or not. Have you been approached to come back for X-Men?
No, they had, I had heard through the grapevine they had hired a couple guys, I don't know who, a composing team to do it maybe 6-7 months ago. But that's Marvel, and that's the industry in some ways now. They could look at me, they could say, my God, he's done a ton of scoring, even this year. But then there's these two 25-year-old guys. So, and certainly what they do will be much hipper. So I'm, understandably coming up against that now.
I see.
But they'll probably do a great job. What they're missing out on is, in a way, the marketing angle of having me come back for it, and possibly 40 years of scoring experience give them something that they don't expect, as opposed to what. But there could also be 30 people involved with the score, which would drive me crazy.
Yep, that could definitely become a challenge, if not an issue. But hey, well, the good news is still got the original theme song. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. In the original series, you can watch it, you can hear it, you can stream it. It's there. You can always listen.
I think it'll be great. I hope it'll be great. I really do.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I've heard they're bringing a lot of the original voice cast to come back and reprise their roles, which is great, which I support wholeheartedly. I mean, a lot of the actors are still with us, thank goodness. So if those actors are still around, bring back Cal Dodd as Wolverine, why don't you? I mean, he's still got the gravelly voice. He does it at conventions every flipping weekend. So,
but boy, are they going to be under the microscope with this series? I mean, whoa.
Yeah, considering you're continuing from where the original '92 series left off, there's some. torch is being picked up, and there's a lot of things you need to fill in and bring the people back that grew up in the original 30 years ago respectively back and all that stuff. But I wish the creative team the best of luck. Anything can happen. Anything is possible. And when you work together as a team, you can do anything. So we'll see what happens with that. But but one of the things I did learn from a certain property, just happens to be named, I don't know, might even more from something, is that the power of teamwork overcomes all. And I want to thank you who may be watching or listening to this episode of NI Quote for being here. And Ron Wasserman, thank you, kind sir, from the bottom of our hearts and from all of us who grew up in the legendary decade known as the 1990s, for being our guest on this episode of And I Quote. If the person watching or listening to this wants to follow you on social media, where's the best place to find you?
Oh, just go to ronw.com, and that's my website. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram. It's easy to find me. However you can do it.
And looky, you're going to be a guest coming up here pretty soon. Why don't you tell us about that?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to Ranger Stop November 10th to the 12th, I think, in Orlando. So that'll be fun.
That's exciting. There you go. See, you can celebrate the 30th anniversary of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers with a lot of legendary actors who are going to be there, including the composer Ron Wasserman himself is going to be in the building. Oh my gosh. Look at this lineup. Look at some of these animators and artists that are going to be in the building alongside with you. I mean, Jeremy Clark is going to be there. I've had the pleasure of meeting him. Very nice guy, by the way.
Great.
And some other individuals as well. And a lot of legendary Ranger actors are going to be present and accounted for in the building. I mean, look at these names. Oh my gosh. From Judith Hogues to Robbie Riss to Hunter Dinos to Ryan Carter's, even Sky Frank, one of JDF's daughters, is going to be in the building. I mean, my gosh, the guest list is more phenomenally stacked, as one might say. You got Rangers from all walks of life. You got Ninja Storm. You got Wild Force. You got Time Force. # that's my favorite season. But not counting the theme songs, Ron. Not counting.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Not counting the theme songs.
You can like somebody else.
No, just saying. But you got a lot of other young up-and-coming I mean, look, Charlie Kirsch. Speaking of MMPR once and always, the young actress who took over who played Trini's daughter is going to be there. How cool is that?
Oh, she was great. Yeah, good for her.
She's incredible. She's only 16. It's insane.
It's insane. I mean,
it is. She did a tremendous job. If there were an honorary
she was great.
Award for an actress or best young actress of the year, I'm giving it to Charlie. I'm giving it to Charlie.
You should do the Power Ranger Awards, actor awards.
That would be nice. And Nakia Baris is obviously going to be there. You got Barbara Goodson, Romy Schiffer was in the suit as Alpha 5, Jason Narby, Paul Schreier. Speaking of Bulk and Skull, good Lord. Catherine Sullivan, Johnny Young Bosch. I mean, look at this. It's stacked. It's absolutely stacked. So go to rangerstop.com, check out their website, check out everything they're doing over there. Lots of great things coming your way very soon. Ron, it has been an honor and a pleasure having you here. I'm going to talk to you again here in just a moment. My name is Ryan of Neuroculture. Feel free to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. Also, make sure you're following us on all forms of social media. The links to where you can follow Ron Wasserman as well as myself are located within the description of this episode, both the video and the audio version of this episode of And I Quote. So check that out. Also, I want to let you know something very special here. We are this close to hitting what is known as 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. And once we do, we're going to throw a great big live stream celebration that's going to have returning favorites, surprise guests, and some giveaways that you, our incredible fans / subscribers, could win, including these prints from the art of John Pinto. Look at that. Oh my gosh. You got Spider-Man. You got Green Goblin over there. I mean, I think that's pretty spectacular. We talked about some other properties earlier, but here's one we didn't get a chance to really discuss. Star Trek, Strange New Worlds. Look at that. You could walk away with this print. You can hang it up on your wall, put it up in your office, put it up in your dorm room, and make all the classmates or fellow people on your campus jealous. Doctor Who, there's another property that's been around for, I don't know, many decades, right? Isn't that right? Yeah. Yes, that is right. And then you got another example here. Darth Vader, who's he from? I don't know, something War in the Stars or something like that. Oh yeah, Star Wars, that's right. So you could win and walk away with these prints during our live stream, or we're going to find other ways to give these prizes and have these giveaways be placed and sent them over to you and all that kind of stuff. So tell your friends about us. because once we hit 1,000, it's going to be one more phenomenal, if I do say so myself. Celebrations. Also, new episodes of The Meaning of Fandom coming your way very soon here on Facebook, YouTube, and all our other social media channels. Also, the movie anniversary watch-alongs are going to be coming back in the month of November. We're going to be doing 30th anniversary watch-alongs for The Three Musketeers, a 007 film by the name of Quantum of Solace turns 15, and the 30th anniversary of Mrs. Doubtfire, starring the late, great Robin Williams, alongside Sally Field, Pierce Brosnan. Speaking of James Bond, Pierce Brosnan was in that movie. Huh! An amazing cast. All those things are coming your way very soon in the month of November, so stay tuned to our social media channels. Remember, like, comment, share, subscribe, ring that bell to be notified when our videos go up. And remember, life is better when reading, and life is certainly better when listening to great music composed by the legendary Ron Wasserman. Take a look.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
Sweet dreams they placed on me inside my mind. Chance my truth twisted past, my memories are fading fast. Am I still missed? You understand? Who do you want me to be? You understand? Am I still missed?
Get ready, kids, because it's the Power Rangers on home video like you've never seen them before. There's 10 hot, more phenomenal video classics now in bright new packages. And now each 30-minute video includes a special feature interview with the Rangers themselves that's not available on TV. Yes! Woo! The 10 repackaged breakthrough videos include Day of the Dumpster, High Five, Food Fight, Happy Birthday Zach, and No Clowning Around. Plus, there's the most popular Ranger of all, the Green Ranger Tommy, in his very own miniseries titled Green with Evil, consisting of the other 5 action-packed videos. Out of Control, Jason's Battle, The Rescue, Eclipsing Megazord, and finally, Breaking the Spell. And the Power Rangers excitement just keeps on growing in 3 brand new videos. These 3 new titles are The Wannabe Ranger, Putty on the Brain, and Bloom of Doom. This new triple power play of video excitement includes a new bad guy, their most menacing adversary yet, the new alien leader, Lord Zed. New Power Zords, fantastic creatures of unbelievable power. Plus, they each contain a special new Power music video. So get ready for more power, more fun, more action, and more special effects with these 13 great Power Ranger home videos.
Good morning. Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.